Hey guys, what's up? We are back with another video today, and today we are doing my Notre Dame Ohio State preview and prediction. So as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Like this video if you enjoy it. Comment all your thoughts and opinions down below to make sure that you are heard. I respond to every single comment, so make sure that you put those down below. Notre Dame and Ohio State, this is going to be a massive matchup at the Horseshoe. Week 1. Week 1 is filled with a lot of great matchups. Florida, Utah, Georgia, Oregon, Arkansas, Cincinnati. Even some matchups that most people don't care about, but I do, in Wisconsin, Illinois State, because that was the local college that was near me when I lived in Illinois. But either way, it is a massively filled weekend with a lot of great matchups. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, as I will be doing a live stream for this video. So make sure that you go check that out down below. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that way you never miss another video. One more quick thing. I will have a podcast each and every single week this college football season. So if you want to go check that out, just click on the channel link below, the Chicago Sports Network, and click on College Football Roundup. It should be on there. If not, just go check out on Spotify, where I will be posting that under the same name, Chicago Sports Network. So let's get started with today's video. So as we get started with this video, we're going to break it down into 3 parts. 1 being Notre Dame's roster, 2 being Ohio State's roster, and 3 being the game prediction. Let's start off with the Ohio State roster. So with Ohio State, you have obviously an elite quarterback and a possible Heisman contender in C.J. Stroud. You have Jackson Smith and Jigba, wide receiver, who's just massively talented, maybe more talented than the 2 first-round wide receivers from last year, in Garrett Wilson and in Chris Olave. But you also have an elite running back that's kind of underrated in Travion Henderson, who broke out as a freshman last year, beating out players like Master Teague and Myron Williams for that starting position. So this is going to be a big game with them for both teams, and it really starts off with Ohio State. Their biggest weakness in this game is not the offense, it's the defense. It's the defense last year gave up a lot of points, in particular in matchups against Utah and Michigan. Even in Purdue, they kind of gave up some points. I'm not going to say they gave up a bunch of points. They gave up 31, but Ohio State controlled that game pretty much the entire time, and it wasn't really close. It was just Purdue got some end of game points. But they also struggled against Minnesota last year. They struggled against Oregon. They did also struggle against Tulsa before they pulled away in that game. So Ohio State did have some struggles early on in their season last year, but they started to fix it, and then they kind of lost it once again near the end of the season. They bring in Jim Knowles as their defensive coordinator. He is the former defensive coordinator at Oklahoma State. So that should be an improvement, is what most people think, but we will see, as it'll be Jim Knowles' first year, and it could be interesting, kind of depending on what goes on there or not, because of the lack of just, you don't have time to get ready for this game. You don't have an Akron to play or a Toledo or something like that, to warm up before this game. You have to get ready for this game. So that defense could be an issue in this game. We'll see how much it takes them. Ohio State does have another issue, and that's in the trenches, offensive line-wise and defensive line-wise. They're really strong, but Notre Dame is much stronger, in particular on the offensive line. You lost Nicholas Petit-Freed last year, a great offensive lineman, that I believe went in the 2nd round, if I remember correctly, to the Tennessee Titans. It may have been the 3rd round, but either way, point still stands. And then with the defensive line, it's strong. It's going to be very good. With JT and Zach Harrison. I'm not even trying to say JT's last name. I'm sorry if you're an Ohio State fan and you're offended. I don't know how to say it. But you have a good front seven, and you have a good offensive line, but Notre Dame's is arguably a lot stronger. So that is a weakness on Ohio State's end. But they have a lot better of a quarterback, and they have a lot better of wide receivers, and you could argue a lot better of a running back room, though Ohio State does at times sometimes could struggle to run the ball if Notre Dame's defensive line is controlling the game. So we'll kind of see where that leads in that outcome there. So on to the Notre Dame roster. So now that we're on to the Notre Dame roster, there are some glaring and apparent issues. Most obvious in the wide receiver corps, where there is only 6 scholarship wide receivers left. 2 freshmen, 2 sophomores, and 2 seniors. There are absolutely no juniors. With the loss of Avery Davis as Notre Dame slot wide receiver, who was a senior, to an ACL tear, that is going to be a massive issue for Notre Dame. That wide receiver corps is going to be really thin. So any injuries whatsoever to it, Joe Wilkins has been nursing, I believe, a foot injury, but I think is fine for now. So any injuries to that wide receiver corps, do watch out, because that could be a really big deal. Notre Dame also is a little bit thinner at running back with the loss of Jadarian Price for the season. Due to an Achilles tear, I believe it was. And then Logan Diggs has been nursing an injury. We'll see. It's 50-50, I believe, whether he's back come next week or week 1. So kind of watch out for that as well. That could be important. But Notre Dame, not really too thin at running back. You still have Chris Tyree and Audrey Estime. And then I think Logan Diggs will be back if you really need him. And he can be a small option. But Logan Diggs was really good last year, and I'd really like to see how much he can improve further. And then Notre Dame's strength is on the line, whether that is Michael Mayer at tight end, or whether that is the offensive line or defensive line, the front seven with the linebackers. They're incredibly, incredibly strong there. Not only does Notre Dame, I believe, have the best edge rusher in this game, and that's Isaiah Foskey, at least as a proven product. Maybe JT could be better, but Isaiah Foskey, I think, is the best proven product at defensive end at this point. So Foskey could wreak havoc in this game depending on what he does. That is going to be really important. Riley Mills has had an excellent fall camp. We'll see whether that can translate into the regular season. That should be important. But really, I think the key comes down to one factor and one factor alone. It's Tyler Buchner. It's just period Tyler Buchner. If Tyler Buchner plays like the quarterback Notre Dame fans want him to play like, well, Notre Dame could win this game. Yeah, because that's possible. Because I think they have advantages on the offensive defensive line. And if you have an even quarterback play, well, that makes a big difference. I think that's the biggest way for Notre Dame to win this game, is if Tyler Buchner plays absolutely fantastic, but that's kind of unrealistic. So basically one thing that I do want to point out here, if my cat Snowball tries to get into the picture, if you want to check him out, he was on one of my prior videos, my second video of all time. But basically with this is, Notre Dame basically has where they have massive advantages at tight end with Michael Mayer. That is going to be a big thing. So I think Notre Dame wins on one reason and one reason alone. That is with just running the ball, running out the clock, just being able to grind away that game. That is going to be the biggest objective in this game for Notre Dame, is to just grind away the clock. Use Tyler Buchner's running ability. Use Logan Diggs and Chris Tyree and Audrey Estime. Audrey Estime is a beast, and just use him to grind away there. That is where you need to win. You have to win the line of scrimmage. That is a must. That is an absolute must if you want to win this game. That is where I would look to focus if your Notre Dame is winning on the line of scrimmage. That's going to be the biggest thing. So now into the game here. This is going to be a really big matchup. I know I keep saying that, but it really, truly is. It determines the path of both of these teams. It's only the second game for Marcus Freeman. It is only the fifth season for RyanDay, and the reason why I say only the fifth season is because RyanDay has won a playoff game. Yes, he has done that, but he has still yet to establish himself as an elite coach the same way that Nick Saban is, or Dabo Swinney, or at this point, Kirby Smart. Uh, so you have that, and you really got to focus on this game for both coaches. This is going to be a defining moment in both of their seasons, and I think that this is going to be a big game. But my final prediction is an Ohio State victory. It pains me as a Notre Dame fan, but it's at Columbus. It's week 1. It's Marcus Freeman's second game. It's really hard to choose Notre Dame, but they have a path to victory if you're Notre Dame fans, so don't lose hope. But I do give the Ohio State Buckeyes the victory. So as always, have a great day. Bye, guys.